should we do Steve-O?
Yes.
This big thing that we heard about Steve-O this morning. This was rather incredible.
I almost forgot about
We got him. I mean, so we've been picking up some real bad energy surrounding this Steve-O, Stephen Glover. Steve-O has a new special out on Moment House, a pay-per-view special. He has been begging the entire world to go buy this special, so much so that he tells a different story of what the special's about, depending on what he thinks the audience of the podcast he's on at the time would like. So, for instance, he was on the First Date podcast, and he goes, every one of your fans should buy my special. You're really going to love it, because it's about love. Yes, the whole thing is a metaphor for finding love. Your audience is going to... It's not about finding... Well, I don't know. I didn't watch it. Uh-oh. If I ain't watching your special, it's too far buried deep on Moment House. So I can't imagine. He has been promoting this special for, no joke, 3 months. He's done about 7 podcasts a day. We just caught him last week on a podcast that got 200 views. She's been going on there. I mean, if you even wanted to see Steve-O's special, you can't. You're cooked on Steve-O because you had to watch 70 hours of him in the last 3 weeks talk about his special over and over and over again. I just heard Steve-O on another show, and I kind of knew this information. This is stuff that doesn't usually stick with me. Steve-O was born a millionaire. His parents, his grandparents, they all come from a long, rich bloodline of severe, serious businessmen. I believe Steve-O's father he was the head of Pepsi in Brazil. Am I getting this right? Steve-O's father, head of Pepsi in Colombia, Brazil.
Something like that.
Something like that. Big enough where... So
South America.
South America. Steve-O is filthy rich. Always has been. So it's really weird. You would think a stunt guy wouldn't be doing stunts unless he was dirt poor. You know, all this BMX. All these ramps. Rich kids don't like ramps, do they? Well, maybe they do. So Steve-O's very rich. We've been picking up on some really odd, peculiar behavior. And we've been just... sick of him. We're sick of seeing his face. We don't think he's good. We don't think he's funny. We find him to be selfish, greedy. From the clips that we've watched on the show over the last couple of months, it seems like he doesn't really care about anybody else in the room. He just wants to tell his own tales over and over and over again. We saw how he disrespected Danny Brown by not even knowing who he was when he did his podcast. Danny Brown had to go, "Oh, I'm a musician. I'm a musician." He was very sad that Steve-O didn't know. So Steve-O is a selfish man. There's another thing I picked up about Steve-O, and that's recovery Steve-O. All this recovery stuff. So he brags about being sober. There's this thing coming up where, well, let's show this clip. Let's show this clip of him on H3. Wait till you see this. So Steve-O is sober. I don't like sober people. I don't congratulate them. I find them to be what's called psychos. If you can't be around a beer, you can't be around a can of beer without it potentially destroying your whole life the next day. You get nervous around a cup of beer. That, to me, at 40, 50 years old, is unacceptable. Sorry.
Here, wait, play this clip first for 2 seconds.
You messaging it or?
It's going to be a next step in 1 second.
Yeah.
The H3 thing.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to play. We're waiting for it to show. Here it is, Steve-O on H3. We're going to hear about Steve-O's sobriety, and I don't congratulate people. I think going to AA is twisted. I think the people you meet in AA are sick. I think the system is psycho. Sitting around in a group, I've never understood how you could possibly elect to go to a basketball court, sit in a circle. They've got a beautiful light hanging from the ceiling that lights you guys beautifully. You've got the old vintage coffee maker, you know. Here is Steve-O on H3. Yep, he went on Ethan Klein's podcast. Desperately going on any podcast you can. We're going to go to 146.10, right?
Yep.
146.10. Wait till you hear this one. You're going to love this one because it features one of our favorites, Bill Maher. Wait till you hear this little story. Here we go.
Jarrett.
To who? Which prez?
They're talking about Club Random.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Can I tell you that I was invited to be on the Bill Maher podcast, whatever he calls it, and I asked that because I'm a clean and sober guy, like maybe he couldn't smoke weed the whole time.
Does he do that?
That was a deal breaker for him.
Oh my God! What a
He was
dick.
like, yeah, like I was so offended by that.
That's literally so mean.
That's
Yeah.
not so mean, Hanukkah Klein. Oh, I can't stomach the sight of this dude's hair. So Bill Maher asked to be on his podcast, which you go on everybody's podcast and you go, you know what, man? Could you not smoke weed, though? If I come on it, I can't be around weed. And Bill Maher, this is what Bill Maher does. He sits there and he holds a joint for 46 minutes. And then he goes, let me ask you something. And then finally he'll go, and it barely lights, and then he puts it out. You can't be around that. You'll relapse. Oh, he'll relapse. But you're allowed to jump out of a plane jacking off? Every podcast he's on, he talks about how he skydives. He did a stunt where he's strapped to the back of a man naked, and he skydives while jacking off to completion, coming in the air. This is what he does. A recovering sex addict.
Yes, says he's a sex
He
addict.
also-
So these sex addicts, we
So-
have another example
Yeah,
coming up
hold
later.
on.
They don't follow the same rules as other types of addiction.
So he's in recovery. Never trust somebody in recovery. If you had to go to recovery, guess what? You're a bad person. Because that's so extreme. You know, you must be, and this is what I think, people who go to these recovery programs, they know it's not just because they drink. It's like Bert doesn't go to recovery because his drinking doesn't come along with a ton of mini crimes, okay? They go to recovery and treatment as a get out of jail free card for the unexposed crimes they got under their belt, the nervousness. And we're about to see, maybe Steve-O has some crimes under his belt here that he wants everyone to know he's recovered from, okay? So maybe this is why he's on everyone's podcast showing how important recovery is to him, because he knows there's some stuff out there that if you heard about, he'd need to quickly run and tell you how much he's changed. And he wants you to pre-know that this is the old him. Let's hear this one more time, and then we'll show you what we found.
And I asked that because I'm a clean and sober guy, like maybe he couldn't smoke weed the whole time.
Does he do that?
That was a deal breaker for him.
Oh my God! What a
He was
dick.
like, yeah, like I was so offended by that.
That's literally like so mean.
Yeah, even like Mike Tyson's hot boxing podcast,
Thank you
like
so
they
much.
were like respectful enough to just
Yeah.
not smoke weed because I was there.
That's so fucked up.
I was so deeply offended.
Say thank
You
you.
should be.
Somebody
That's-
just handed him a coffee, doesn't say thank you. Just takes. Because he's used to that. He was raised by nannies. This is what he told me the other day on the podcast. Yeah, I was raised by caretakers, mamois, and nannies. What do they call that? A porqueur? What do they call it? Au pair. If you were raised by nannies, you're a twisted soul. Chris D'Elia was raised by nannies.
Nanny.
Nanettes. Look at this Klein. And Klein hated Steve-O too. But he was too afraid to say it. Ooh, look at this Klein, man.
It was
Seriously.
actually great when Steve-O tried to leave this podcast. He kept on telling him
Yes.
lies about how he's like,
Oh my God, yeah, we caught Steve-O going, oh, dude, I just remembered I got to meet a friend in 15 minutes. And then Ethan's like, wait, what? You were scheduled to do this podcast? He goes, it's a sober thing. So he tried to use AA as an excuse to get out of this podcast. He ended up staying for 20 more minutes, so apparently the friend's just waiting.
Or it was a
And is the friend waiting right outside if you have to meet him in 15 minutes? So he uses, this is another thing about Steve-O, he uses sober living as a way to get out of things. This is what he'll do if he has to go somewhere. Oh, fuck. I hate to do this. So, 20 years sober, my sober sponsor, we kind of help each other. He's in need. So, I can't bail on him right now. I gotta. And then you look at his phone, there's nothing there. He uses that. That should get you kicked out of AA. Do the AA guys know this about Steve-O? Because they're very strict about their little nightclub they've got running. With the coffees, enough. We don't need you on caffeine. That is a drug. You're to be drug-free. Caffeine is strong. Seriously, I don't want them on caffeine. It's creating too much motivation for them to go out and be yapping.
So anyways, we've been so mad at Steve-O.
We've been so mad at Steve-O, and I'm going,
it's annoying the shit.
He's got to
out of
have
us.
some secrets. He's got to have something. And a listener dug this up. There was a time where people talked about a lot of stuff that now is illegal. Okay? Like on the Opie and Anthony podcast, there's a lot of stuff said on that show that now is very cancelable. You can't say that stuff anymore. And a lot of people in the early days of podcasts really let it rip. You've seen Joe Rogan. He mentioned the N-word about 183 times. Those needed to be deleted. Yeah. He liked saying it very clearly. You hear that, Freddie Gibbs? He loved it. The stoned ape theory, he called it. Steve-O was on a podcast. What is this from? Do we know what podcast this is from that he was on?
I don't know.
This is years ago.
I saw this BBG post.
This is great, and this guy's going to be rewarded handsomely. Joshua von Frankenstein. He said, this is some lost... Oops. There, I'll throw it up here. I'll prove it to you. Let me hide all these little chats people send me and all these pop-ups here. Scott Loveless. Okay, look at what he says here. He goes, lost, forgotten audio of Steve-O on Radio Bam. Okay, we know this. Radio Bam Margera. Talking about cranking it 3 times in Nichole Richie's bed while she was sleeping. He goes on to say the N-bomb with the hard R and then calls Ja Rule a faggot. This aired on Sirius Satellite Radio back in 2005. Great. So this tape, if got into the wrong hands right now, could ruin Steve-O. From 2005, Steve-O spells it all out. Let's take a listen.
Hey, anybody see me in the tabloids lately?
What a prick.
I am so hot right now.
I read that it said he's going to shit because of his eyes.
Are you even still talking to Nichole Richie?
Dude, I'm
Are
practically...
you fucking
Nichole
or what,
Richie.
bitch?
Dude, I'm practically Hollywood's new it boy.
Okay, so remember Nichole Richie, right? Paris Hilton's buddy, very skinny. This is Ashley Simpson's older sister, right? No, Nichole Richie is Lionel Richie's daughter. Do you remember her? Everyone remembers her. So this is when Steve-O was getting pretty famous from Jackass, right? And they're asking, hey, you were spotted with Nichole Richie. Did you ever fuck her? Let's hear what he says.
Yo, tell the story again how you jerked off in her bed. You jerked off in her bed.
Not only did I not fuck, I was so worried. I was so worried about not being chased around by paparazzi with Nichole Richie that I didn't want to overwhelm her with an inappropriate advance. Like I never even tried to fuck her, but there was one time when I'm so dumb. Whoops. Okay, did I say that? Oh, let me continue. Okay, so she invited me over, right? And it's like I'm gonna crash over for the night, and it's like we were. Chilling in the bed, she passes out. And so I just start tugging, dude, I fucking yanked out 3 solid loads in her bed.
God.
And so
She passes out. He gets into her bed and jacks off 3 times, creating 3 solid loads in her bed while she sleeps.
Now, were they dating?
Your Honor!
Were they dating?
No,
because
he said
why are they together in this pit?
they're friends. He said, did you ever fuck Nichole Richie? And he goes, no, I never fucked her. The closest I got, and that's what he says this story.
Damn.
Let's
Sick.
take a listen one more time to that.
Okay, so she invited me over, right? And it's like I'm gonna crash over for the night, and it's like we were, chilling in the bed, like she passes out, and so I just start talking, dude, I fucking yanked out 3 solid loads.
Oh
in her
my
bed.
God!
And
Was she asleep?
She was awake for the second 2. So imagine how creepy that is. Like me, lurking over Nichole Richie, jerking off.
Oh my God!
While she's sleeping.
Were you thinking Nichole?
And then it was just like it got crazy.
Did
The
you know-
tabloids got onto it.
Did you know that we're live on air right now and everybody just?
Yo, we should.
Everybody. Although my dad does have a great deal of my money invested in Sirius, and
You said that already.
Like, no, I didn't. We're working on the radio shit.
John is so fed up right
Okay, so he admits to a 2003 sexual assault. Sorry. In 2003, Louis got canceled for just jacking off in the same room as somebody else. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
This was in the same bed. It's got to be worse. 3 loads. Louis didn't do any loads. He just wiggled his dick as a gag for 2 seconds as a comedy dick gag like Green Day. Green Day did the same thing as Louis. I bring this up every time. Green Day used to get naked all the time and jack off everywhere. They would at parties, in green rooms, on stage. So, and thousands of people saw Green Day do that, expose themselves to them. He would get naked in front of the whole stage on a concert. Louis did it to 2 female comics. He was exiled. So Green Day should be exiled. Seriously, let's get this Green Day story out there. You could find, by the way, if you want to hear it, they were on Howard Stern. They did an interview with Howard Stern where they spell it all out. And they're all laughing as if that was fun and games. Cancel Green Day. I just got, if you cut to the wide shot, you see I've got this, what is this? MXR Dookie drive pedal. It's supposed to make your guitar sound just like Dookie. I can't get it to sound anything like Dookie. My guitar tone sounds like a 12-year-old kid at Guitar Center.
So he's pissed and now he wants you to pay for your crap.
By the way, I have everything Guitar Center sells. Don't know how to hook it up.
And Steve-O, if you didn't annoy everybody all week and make people think of you every 5 seconds
Look at
and
this.
get into our business,
You wanted
maybe
promo.
people won't be searching up all this stuff about you.
He's a promosexual.
Only take maybe 2 podcasts.
2 podcasts, would it be enough? I do no podcasts.
And also his
I do
special,
no other podcasts.
His special that he's promoting came out at the beginning of October.
Well, he's like Tom Segura. So Tom Segura's bloodline is very wealthy businessmen making huge deals and drops. Steve-O's from that bloodline too. These guys they're little corporations. They're comedy corporations. They need to make as much money as their dad made, doing some real shady stuff with Pepsi. Imagine the shadiness behind a company like Pepsi. They've done it all. Poisoning our water supply with that Pepsi.
They're calling him a promosexual.
I said that. They're probably repeating me.
Okay,
So
I didn't
not
hear that.
only
Hilarious.
did he just confirm a sexual assault, he Bobby Lee's Tijuana story got him in a lot of trouble. Bobby says he was kidding. That's the only reason he got off the... So Steve-O, you could get in a lot of trouble for that. But now he's going to go on and use the N-word and the F word for gay people. That is fagoot. So let's hear him do those crimes. 3 in 1, 1 tape, 3 fully, especially with Ethan Klein's audience. You throw this in the H3 Reddit,
They're going to go nuts.
they're going to go crazy. Hint, hint. Somebody put this in the H3 Reddit. Steve-O was just a guest on the show. They all think they like Steve-O now. And this just happened with 2 of other Ethan's guests. He had Whitney on, and then the next day they find out Whitney's a transphobe. They all get mad at Ethan. He had C-Man on. Then they had Jimmy. Now this. Put this in the H3 Reddit. Not my clip. This clip. Don't put me anywhere near those H3 kids. Okay, let's hear him do the other 2 offenses. Here we go.
Son's just answering emails on his BlackBerry right now because he's so fed up. With life.
I'm not fed up.
And I'm pretty likable right now.
Anybody
You are.
Anybody that wants to talk to us, call 877 porn bag and tell them how much of a fucking dipshit Steve-O is, or...
And so to answer everybody's question, sorry, but if I had to choose between fucking Nichole Richie
Or
and
no,
being in all the tabloids, I chose the tabloids. What up?
What a nice guy.
Oh
And this is why Nichole Richie had to starve herself, because of incidents like this, the trauma. Lionel Richie, do you know about this? Tag Lionel Richie with this. Her father. That guy from BoJack Horseman, Lionel Richie. And tell him, hey, Steve-O masturbated while your daughter was asleep and jizzed 3 times in her bed. The bed that you paid for. Maybe he'll make a song about it. A jazz song or something.
Wait a minute. You can't just kick a verse from your new rap without explaining that he has a new rap.
What made you want to rap?
Well, I mean, 50 Cent bringing me on
Listen.
rap tour, the G-Unit. Like,
50 Cent.
Dude, well, no, see, the thing was, it was back in July 2004. This is like fucking almost 2 years ago. And like, I actually had like Who Kid, 50 Cent's DJ. He's like got a hold of me and got me to come into the studio. So I walk in there. The first thing when I turn the microphone on, the first thing out of my mouth, I say, I don't have a racist bone in my body, but I like to consider myself a nigger.
Oh my God.
The N-word with the ER that people really despise. So he said the N-word. He's jacking off in a passed-out girl's bed. Now let's hear him finish it up with a gay slur. You hear this, Robbie Hoffman? Can you believe this?
Oh, wait, yeah. No N-word. No, definitely not.
Well, I mean, you know what, dude? Like, I mean, I'm proactively against racism. What can I say? So then it's just like, I'm like, oh yeah, well, you know what, Ja Rule? That little fucking faggot doesn't even deserve the attention 50s.
How can you say that about Ja Rule? She calls Ja Rule a faggot. So, okay, there it is. Steve-O. Not good. Not good. And I don't think his special has been selling well. Moment House. He's still promoting. He's still booking podcasts to promote it. I've really never seen anyone do it that much. I know people are doing it a lot.
2 full months.
2 full months.
Every day.
I mean, his special was released last month, and he's on podcast today promoting it. That's a long time. So there you go, Steve. I hope it was worth it. And hopefully we could give Steve-O another shot, right? Steve-O, I would like some free Pepsi Zero. Which, again, your dad stole from Coke Zero, who invented it first. Okay? I have been drinking Coke Zero. I got a trick for Coke Zero. So, I don't know if you know this, but a can of Coke has, 27 grams of sugar, right? A can of Coke. I love a delicious Coca-Cola Classic. But you can't drink 2 Coca-Cola Classics at dinner on the couch at 10:30 p.m. You've got caffeine in it. Then it's I don't know what 27 times 2 is. It's a lot. 50-something grams of sugar. That's too much. You're going to wake up. And when I drink that much sugar, especially via a Coke, I'll get a bunch of aches and pains the next day, okay? A lot of inflammation from the Coke. But then the next option, I've never understood this. It's either 27 grams of sugar or no sugar. I'll never understand why they can't make Coke half. Coke half. It's just kind of sweet, okay? We don't have to make it disgusting. No sugar. That's a totally different drink now, this Diet Coke. It's gross. Can't you just Coke a little less sugar? Or will it not taste good unless maybe that 27 grams is the minimum to get it good? I'll tell you a trick I've been doing. You guys ready for a new tip? I take a Coke Zero, caffeine-free. It's a beautiful can. Have you guys seen what a Coke Zero caffeine-free looks like? It's a gold can. The caffeine-free Coke products, they come in gold. It's nice. High-end can.
It's beautiful.
It looks like a bullet. It's so nice. It looks like a nice shotgun shell, red and gold. Coke Zero caffeine-free. I could drink 3 of them at 10:30 at night. I don't have the caffeine. The caffeine will keep you up at night, ruining your sleep, right? But like I said, it's not that I can have no sugar. I could have half. I would drink Coke if it was 12 grams of sugar, right? So I came up with a trick. I buy jars of cherries in grenadine. And I pour in about a tablespoon of the cherry juice. Throw in one of those cocktail cherries in there. Mix it up. What's that adding? 4 grams of sugar? Who cares? It's perfectly the right amount of sweetness. There's the trick. And then you get a cherry Coke
It's
syrup.
fun.
Caffeine free. You
really
throw that.
fun.
I do it on ice. I'll take a cup. I'll fill it halfway with ice. It's nice. It's refreshing. You should put some ice in it. It's too syrupy. You pour in the tablespoon of the cherry juice, 1 cherry on the rocks. Then you pour the caffeine-free Coke Zero over it. You give it a little mix with a straw, and you drink it. I'm telling you, if you have it with a meal, no different than having a nice cherry. Well, it is different. It's different, but it will do the trick. Another thing that I started trying is pouring straight up sugar in the Coke. You're adding regular cane sugar in the Coke. Until I get to 26 grams, I could go, it's still
pretty good.
Yeah, I
compared
started
to
adding
27.
liquid, what do they call that? Liquid sugar to the Coke. I got the pump from Starbucks. But here's the problem with that. I did try that. What is that liquid sugar called?
Like simple syrup.
Simple syrup. I go, Jules, what if we put 1 pump, which is a tablespoon, 1 pump of simple syrup into the Coke Zero and see if that's enough? I put 1 pump in there, 1 tablespoon. Couldn't even taste it. So it takes a lot of sugar to sweeten a Coke. It takes 1 tablespoon of cherry juice to sweeten a Coke, and it tastes way sweeter than adding sugar back to your Coke. For Coke half. You know, I'm not punished. I don't need a punishment. I'm not a sugarholic.
This is for a treat.
It's not for a treat. It's for every drink. And did you know
It's not
this?
for
I
every
stopped
drink.
drinking water.
No, you didn't.
Coke has water. People do this. Not me. Don't worry, guys. I know all about health. I know all about it. Okay, what's up next? That was a Steve-O Exposed, by the way. Pretty good. Thank you to that listener.
Thank you, yeah. Oh, that's fine. Thank you, yeah. Little black baby, little black baby. Pour some water, put that cup, we're spilling.